What's up, y'all? It's Celeste, and as you can tell by the title, I am back on testosterone. And you'll notice that it doesn't say I am about to be on testosterone, I am going back on testosterone. I am already on testosterone. I started taking tea again on January 1st, so it's actually been almost 8 weeks since I've been back on it. And I didn't tell anybody, including Jason, until I actually just told Jason like a couple days ago. The only person that I actually told during that period was my voice teacher a couple weeks ago, because I felt like he really needed to know that, because the whole point of what I'm trying to do taking tea is getting my voice to drop, and so I didn't know what my voice was going to be doing, and we're trying to work with my range and everything, so I really felt like he needed to know. And that whole conversation went like super well, like probably the best coming out that I've ever had, which was kind of funny. But anyway, I didn't tell anybody else, and so that was why I didn't make any videos about it. The reason that I didn't even tell Jason was because when I took tea the first time, I couldn't really tell like some of the changes that I was looking for. It was really hard for me to tell whether they were actually there, whether I was like imagining them, or like kind of like a confirmation bias sort of thing. And the same was kind of true with other people around me. Like I'm not saying that like he did imagine all of it, but it's just I couldn't really tell. Like there wasn't really any way for me to know whether it was like a psychological thing, or, you know, it wasn't a scientific way to do it, I guess. And so I wanted it to be more like that. I wanted to see if he did notice anything, because of everybody in my life, like I'm around him the most. And so if there were significant changes, then I felt like he probably would notice them, and then like whatever. But I didn't really think it would take that long. I thought that maybe it would be a couple weeks or something. And so as it went on and on, I felt like really bad that I was keeping this from him. So it didn't really go the way that I had planned for it to. But anyway, he knows now, and so do you. So here I am. So he didn't notice anything before I told him. So there weren't any like massive changes or anything. Obviously, it's been 8 weeks and there still haven't really been that big of changes. I have noticed some things, which I'll talk about in a second. But as far as my voice, I do feel like it's changed. Like when I talk now, I feel like it sounds a little bit deeper to me, and also it feels different to me. And that has been, especially over the last like 2 weeks or so, I have felt that. Actually about a week ago, I got super hoarse and had a sore throat for a couple days. I wasn't sick, I didn't have any other symptoms or anything. And I looked a bunch of stuff up, and I read a lot of people talking about, like on forums and Facebook and stuff like that, a lot of people saying that when they were on tea, when their voice would drop, they would get hoarse or they would get a sore throat, and then like a couple days later their voice would drop. And so it's possible that that's what that was, that it's something to do with my vocal cords changing, but it's also totally possible that I just got hoarse, either from some allergy thing or the fact that I have been taking voice lessons. So I have been singing a lot and like trying to get my vocal cords used to doing things they're not used to doing. So as always happens with these things, there are so many other variables that it's really hard for me to tell what's actually happening, but that's a possibility anyway. I wanted to mention that just because I did find a lot of people talking about this online in text, but I haven't seen a lot of people really talk about it in their videos. After I started looking this up, I did find like 1 or 2 people mention this. I know that Jackson Bird talked about this in some videos. I actually hadn't watched his earlier transition videos, so I wasn't aware of that, but I watched them over this past week. And he talked about that he did have like a sore throat, and kind of got, a lot of people talk about it where it's like almost like you sound like you have a cold, or you sound like you're sick but you're not. And for some people it only lasts like a couple days at a time, and some people it seems to last like months. So it really kind of varies. It's interesting that it seems like most cis guys didn't experience that, or don't experience that when their voices drop. So I don't know what it is about tea, if it's because it's a more compressed time period that the changes are happening, or if it's because of there are other physical differences in the shape of things, like the size of things. For AFAB people, I don't know, there's other stuff that could be affecting it. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if that's related to my voice or not, but I did want to mention that just because, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it in videos, and it would probably be helpful for some people to know that that's possible, although you could end up like me and sort of be unsure whether or not it actually is happening to you, or whether it's like you're trying to connect the things in the hopes that your voice is dropping. So as far as other changes that I have had quite a bit of hair growth, which kind of sucks because, as you probably know if you've watched any of my other videos about tea, I really don't want any more hair, and that's happening. So I'm not really sure how much longer I can kind of do this like little gamble that I'm doing, because I definitely do not want to get like full facial hair or body hair or anything like that. At the moment, what I have is still manageable. I'll put some pictures and or video up here of my facial hair as it was yesterday, because I actually shaved my face for the first time yesterday with an electric razor. I didn't have to use like actual razor and shaving cream and stuff. Thank goodness. I really don't want to ever have to do that. That just seems like a massive pain, possibly literally, because I'm very klutzy and I like don't even shave my legs because it's like too, like I end up cutting myself, so I just use Nair. But anyway, I used an electric razor, and that was actually the easiest way to do it. I don't know why I never really thought about doing that before. But I previously had tried other stuff, like one of those little mini electric razors that's for like little areas. That didn't work. That just made me break out. And then I've done like, I tried like Sally Hansen cream and stuff. That made me break out. It like totally destroyed my face. That stuff was awful. And then I got some those little mini, I think they're intended for like eyebrow shaping or whatever, but I actually, like I tried using them along here and again, broke out. My skin is very sensitive. But I actually do still use those for this like temple area that I try to keep shaved down. It's kind of annoying because it grows really fast, but that's what I use those for. And then the last thing I got was one of those like coil things that's like, it's basically like a long spring with these two handles, and you use it and it basically just like grabs the hair in between the coils and just like rips them out. And that was pretty effective, but it didn't do, there was just like way too much like, I don't have that much like dark thicker hairs, but I have a lot of fuzz all over my whole face. Like I had that before I even started tea. So that's just like way too much for something like that. And it was also very painful. It wasn't that bad. Like once I got started, I kind of got used to it. But anyway, doing the electric razor was like way easier. It didn't hurt. It was super easy. It was just like, I don't know. I should have just done that to begin with. Anyway, if I have to do that like every few days or something, like that's okay. I don't mind doing that. I don't want to have to shave every day, and I don't want to have to shave with like a razor or anything like that, like a manual razor. I have had an increase in hair other places too, including my lower legs. It's gotten a lot thicker, and along the center of my stomach, which I had like a tiny bit of that before when I was on tea, but it kind of went away after I stopped tea, and now it's kind of coming back. And that part I actually kind of like. I don't know, for some reason I think that's actually kind of cute. So that's fine. I am starting to get a little bit fuzzier around the chest. Again, not really like the dark hairs, but it's just like more of the really thin, transparent hairs. So if it stays like that, that's okay. But I don't want to get really hairy. And just my family is very hairy. I'm half Lebanese. That side is hairy. The other half is like Irish, Scottish, English. So that half is also somewhat hairy. And so all of this is like hard to avoid with my genes. And both my dad and my brother are really hairy, and like entire chest, entire back, like arms, like everything. I don't want to end up like that. No offense to them. But so I'm kind of trying to like manage it, and it's, again, like I said, I don't know how much longer I can really like skate on this edge of what's going on with my hair and still try to get my voice to drop. Like I feel like my voice is a lot closer to where I want it to be, and I just want it to be like a little bit lower, and so I'm just kind of like trying to balance all of that. but it's really weird because I make voice samples, like I've been doing that all along. And when I listen back to the voice samples, I don't really hear a very significant difference between before I restarted tea and now. There's like maybe a tiny bit, but it's very subtle. Today is December 21st, 2017, and this is my voice 6 months off tea. Today is February 20th, 2018, and this is my voice just about 5 months on tea. Like, I even put the audio clips into some programs that do like pitch analysis, and there's like almost no difference. But I feel like I sound different to myself when I'm listening to other stuff, or like where I'm just talking sort of fluidly like I am now. So I don't know if it's that like when I'm doing the voice samples, because it's kind of like a static sort of thing, if I'm like different than I normally sound, or if I'm just like imagining it. I don't know. But anyway, I do feel like my voice has dropped a little bit, and I feel like I must be like getting right to the point where it's gonna drop a little bit more, just because of the timing of everything, and I don't know. Oh, the other thing that I forgot to mention, should have mentioned this at the beginning, but I previously, when I was on tea last year, was taking about 25 milligrams. I started on 25, and then I think I ended up at like maybe 30 or so, but I didn't increase it very much. When I restarted, the first shot, I think I took like 18 milligrams or something like that, and then I kind of just like increased it like every week pretty much until I got to 55 is where I am now, and so that's like over twice as high as it was when I was taking tea last year. So that's one of the reasons that things are happening a little bit faster, because I just got really impatient, honestly. When I restarted tea, I was gonna start kind of slow, and then like nothing was happening, and so I was just kind of like, let's just get this over with. I just want to like get stuff going, and I don't know. I'm just like getting really impatient because I just want to get this over with. I really actually don't like being on tea. I don't know, actually this time it's better. The first time I was on tea, I was a lot more tired. I needed like at least an hour more sleep every night, which was annoying because I gave up that hour that I normally would have been like productive during the day. This time I don't have that. Actually, this time, especially for the last couple weeks since I increased the dose all the way to 55, I have been having a lot of trouble sleeping, and again, I don't know 100% if that's why, but it seems likely that that's probably why. I'm having a little bit of trouble falling asleep, and then I'm waking up like every night in the middle of the night, and it's just, I don't know, it's really strange that it's like kind of the opposite of how it was last year. And also last year, I felt like I had a lot of mood changes, and like I didn't really know at the time whether it was really from the tea, because there was a lot of other stuff happening in my life, like family stuff that was like emotionally difficult and stuff. So it could have just been that, I don't know. But I did feel different last year when I was on it. And now I haven't really noticed really very many mental or emotional changes. If anything, I just have felt a little bit more, I don't know, like the one thing that I did get last year that I kind of liked was that I felt like I was less like, not patient is the right word, because I didn't become impatient in a negative way. It was more like I just like wouldn't put up with stupid stuff that was like people being jerks and stuff like for as long before I would stand up for myself or others. And I do feel like that's maybe back a little bit or something, but I don't know. Other than that, like there's not really any difference. I don't feel depressed. I don't feel any more anxious or self-conscious or anything. And that was one of the other things that I think, because I didn't tell anybody that I was on tea. I think last year when I was on tea the first time, I kind of felt really self-conscious about it, and about like, I don't know, I just felt kind of exposed, I guess, like with everybody knowing, and like feeling like, I don't know, either people were noticing changes or they weren't, and I was feeling like I wasn't like trans enough or something. But because I didn't tell anybody this time, it's just kind of like nobody, like I don't feel like anybody's like thinking about it or anything. So that could be an impact too. But like last year I definitely felt more self-conscious, not even just about transition stuff, but just in general. But also part of that could have been because I was like just beginning medical transition at that point, and at this point I've kind of gotten used to that, and like, I don't know, it's just not like a new thing anymore where I feel kind of like, I don't know, like super vulnerable about it and stuff. I don't know. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention was that previously when I was on T, I took all my shots in my butt. Basically, it was kind of like my hip / butt area. And this time I did the same thing just because that's how I have always done it, and that's how I was taught to do it by the nurse at the doctor where I was prescribed the T to begin with. But the last 2 times that I've taken it, I actually switched to doing it in my thigh, and that actually worked a lot better, although it is more painful doing it that way, like both while it's happening and also afterward. I actually have like a little bit of soreness there, which I really didn't in my butt. But I feel like it absorbs better there. I was having a little bit of like leakage after I would pull the needle out, and I don't know, it just seemed like it wasn't absorbing all the way because I was losing some of it. So this time the last 2 times I've done it in my thigh, and that has worked better. I haven't really had any leakage or anything, and again, that kind of coincides with when I increased the dosage, so it's hard to tell whether like I'm actually absorbing it better or if I just have more that I'm taking. But I don't know, just something to note there. I know this video is really rambling, I'm sorry, I'm sure you're used to it by now if you've watched any of my other videos, but what I was saying was that I don't really enjoy being on T. Like, again, this time it's not really that bad. I haven't really had any really negative stuff other than the fact that I haven't been sleeping that well, although it's gotten a little better this week. But I don't really want to be on T ongoing, so I'm kind of like looking forward to getting this over with, like getting my voice to the place that I want it to be, and then being able to stop and like go back to my normal levels of things. So yeah, I'm trying to remember if there are any other changes or things that I wanted to mention. I have had a little bit more acne on my chest and a little bit on my face, but not really very much. I don't think I've really had much of an increase in acne overall from the T, which is kind of interesting. My face does feel oilier. That's kind of annoying. Oh, I haven't talked about the really personal stuff yet, so I will just like briefly go into that. So I'll put a timestamp here where you can skip ahead to if you don't want to watch this part. But I'm going to be talking about libido and bottom growth stuff. So I actually haven't really had as much of that this time either, which is kind of weird. I have had some bottom growth, but it's still not like super significant. I mean, I can tell the difference, but I don't think that the average person, if they saw me there, would think that much of it. It's not like, it doesn't have really any effect on things. And it's not really as sensitive this time either, so I don't know if that's just because like maybe it's just like really more sensitive at the very beginning, or I don't know. Kind of related to that, because I think the sensitivity was one of the reasons that I did have kind of an increase in libido last time. I don't really have one this time, like really at all. I feel maybe like, I feel more kind of, not sensitive is the right word, but like, I feel like there's more like blood flow happening in that area or something, but I don't feel like it really has affected anything. It doesn't make me feel like I need to do anything about any of that, or I don't know, anything related to that. Yeah, so I think that probably covers that section of things. So I think that's probably most of the changes that I've noticed over the last, I guess, 8 weeks or so. It's kind of hard for me to figure out exactly how long I've been on T at this point total, because I stopped when I was like 3 months plus a week, and now I've been back on for almost 8 weeks. So it's kind of like, I don't know, somewhere around 5 months, I think, but not exactly. I don't know. It's somewhere around there. And again, I've had kind of varying dosage throughout that period, so take that as you will if you're trying to compare my changes to what you could expect or what you have gotten, or so on. But if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below and or message me and I will answer them. I do have another related video coming up that somebody asked me a question about, talking about kind of the intersection of taking tea with being asexual. And the reason that I kind of put that on pause, if that person is watching this video, this is why, because I wanted to be able to talk about my current experience in addition to my previous experience taking tea. So I will be doing that pretty soon, upcoming, I think. But other than that, if you have any other questions, I will either answer you directly or make a video about it if it's something that I think other people would be interested in knowing. So if it is something that you're okay with that, just let me know if you have any preferences for like name or pronouns that I should or shouldn't use for you. Because I know sometimes people's names that they have on like their YouTube account isn't what they actually go by and stuff like that. So yeah, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my future content, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I post. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.